Right now, it's 2019.
It's going to take 208 years
to close the gender equality gap in the United States.
That's this many generations, or your great-granddaughter's great-granddaughter's daughter.
You know, F.A. Hayek once said, "There is a difference in the world between treating all people equally and attempting to make them equal." If you're looking for a society that doesn't legally bar women from anything that it permits for men, the US should look pretty darn good to you. If you're looking for a society that successfully forces men and women into equal outcomes, then I'm sorry, but even 208 years of state propaganda won't overturn biological realities.
The US will continue to be robbed
of women's talent and ingenuity.
But why 208 years?
And what can all of us do to shorten this timeline?
Gotta love how they say that the US is being robbed of women's talent and ingenuity. Last I checked, women are far more talented at having and nurturing children than men are, and whether or not mom is around in those early years has a profound effect on her children's educational attainment, behavioral problems, and overall success as an adult. Strangely, feminists seem utterly unconcerned about this reality, and instead try and convince women that being a stay-at-home mom is nothing but oppression by the patriarchy. Shouldn't feminists be a little more concerned about all the mothering talent that real children are being robbed of as we speak? What's your society 208 years from now going to look like when the entire adult population was raised without involved mothers?
Studies have shown that gender parity is fundamental to whether and how societies and economies thrive.
What studies, and how do they show this? The World Economic Forum report that this video cites asserts gender parity's importance, but doesn't do much in explaining how having an equal number of men and women in certain societal categories necessarily leads to a more prosperous society. It only says that not having gender parity means missing out on the skills, ideas, and perspectives of half of humanity. So is the garbage collection industry missing out because 91.4% of garbage collectors are male? Couldn't it be the case that men and women, on average, have different skills and interests that are better utilized in different careers and societal sectors? In that case, gender disparity could actually lead to greater prosperity.
Every year, the World Economic Forum
Measures the gender gap in countries all across the world.
Each country gets a score across 4 categories: economic participation and opportunity,
educational attainment,
health and survival,
and political empowerment.
In 2018, the United States ranked 51 out of 149 countries on this scale.
Yeah, and here are some of the countries that ranked higher: Nicaragua, Rwanda, the Philippines, South Africa, Belarus, Serbia, Uganda, Mexico. Tell me, how many of the speakers in this video are eager to pack up and head to one of those countries? They're more gender equal than the US, and therefore so much more prosperous. Isn't that what you just asserted?
The score has actually improved over the last dozen years in every category but one:
Health and survival.
Okay, stop and think about that for a minute. According to the feminists, the US has been improving in every category that this study measures, except for health and survival. So as more women achieve higher educational attainment, workforce participation, and political power, their health and survival goes down. I mean, not drawing any conclusions yet, but it's interesting that as the US has embraced the feminist vision, women's health outcomes have gotten worse. Do you think maybe that's something we should look into?
Yeah, that one.
Today, the U.S. has the worst maternal mortality rate of any country in the developed world.
The study cited did report this, but it is highly misleading. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control, maternal death is any death that occurs from day 1 of pregnancy to 1 year after birth. However, most countries, including developed countries like Australia, France, and Denmark, only consider maternal death to be any death that occurs from day 1 of pregnancy to 42 days after birth. Considering the greater amount of time that the US considers in its statistics that other countries don't, it's not surprising that the US ends up recording far more maternity-related deaths. But don't take my word for it. Read it from the very report that they cited. Late maternal death statistics need to be improved. Maternal mortality surveillance studies, such as confidential inquiry, have shown that late maternal death is non-trivial in even low-resource settings and can account for up to 40% of maternal deaths in high-income settings. A contemporary linkage study in Mexico found that 18% of maternal deaths are missed when the definition is truncated at 42 days postpartum. Despite knowledge of its importance, only a few countries using ICD-10 reliably code late maternal deaths.
Life expectancy for everyone in the U.S. has declined over the last dozen years, but the decline for women is almost 4 times more than men.
Indeed. And funny, isn't it, that not one of you even considers the possibility that this is the result of women embracing the things feminists told them to. Multiple studies, such as the paradox of declining female happiness and gender, job authority, and depression, have shown that as women have rejected marriage and motherhood in favor of careers, divorce, and other such means of so-called female empowerment, they have become more depressed and unhappy than ever. Doesn't it stand to reason that embracing feminism might actually be having a negative effect on women's health? Nah, can't be. It's gotta be the patriarchy, right? If you assume from the offset that all negative outcomes for women result from the patriarchy, then every possible observation will end up confirming your view. And yet, the feminists claim to be the rational ones.
But there's good news. The U.S. has achieved gender parity across all levels of the education system.
And women earn over 2/3 of all master's degrees.
And earn over half of all doctoral degrees.
Wait, did you hear that? Women are earning more master's degrees and more PhDs than men. So where is the aggressive call to increase the educational achievement for men and achieve gender parity? That's right, you won't find it. In fact, in the World Economic Forum report, the researchers explicitly state that categories in which women outperform men are ranked exactly the same as if they were completely equal. You'll also not find the least bit of concern regarding the fact that men are overrepresented in dangerous and dirty professions such as loggers, roofers, garbage collectors, and steel workers. Don't be fooled. Feminists have never believed in equality for men and women. They believe in female supremacy and the subjugation of men.
But the gender gap in the workplace hasn't seen the same shift. For every 100 men who are promoted,
Only 79 women are promoted.
only 6.6% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women.
And again, only 8.6% of garbage collectors are women. Only 6% of truck drivers are women. Why are you so unconcerned about that? And your citation of Fortune 500 companies is pretty selective, don't you think? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a full 51% of management occupations in the US are held by women. But then you wouldn't be the least bit concerned that the women in those management positions are significantly more likely to be depressed, now would you?
And speaking of leadership positions,
The U.S. isn't even close to achieving gender parity in elected officials. The U.S. is 98th in our representation of women in political institutions.
Women make up less than 25% of Congress.
Over 50 countries have elected women to head of state.
not us.
Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Hill, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar. Yeah, the more women I see that are actually attracted to politics, the more I'm convinced this is a good thing that they're underrepresented. But tell me, would you support electing a female president if the person running was, say, Christina Hoff Sommers, or Lauren Chen, or Tomi Lahren, or any other right-wing female media figure? My guess is the answer is no, which proves yet again that this isn't about gender equality at all. This is about forcing men into submission and female supremacy.
So there you have it.
But what if we could stop the statistic before it becomes a reality?
I mean, who doesn't love a good comeback story?
Iceland, we're coming for you.
So, how?
Gender equality can actually start with a conversation.
Like, how do you divide unpaid labor in your home?
At work, take action if women on your team aren't paid and promoted equitably.
Volunteer for women's political campaigns and recruit women to run for office.
Give to organizations making the world a more equitable place.
The well-being of our whole society depends on achieving gender equality.
And you've still yet to prove that this so-called gender equality necessarily results in a prosperous society. Let's get real, folks. The fact that feminists want more female politicians but not more female garbage collectors, as well as the fact that they aren't fighting for male improvement in educational attainment, shows what they're really about. Female supremacy brought about by force of the state. Feminism is nothing but Marxism, with men and women substituted for the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The reality is that while all individuals have the same rights as human beings, all individuals are not equal. Some of us are men and some are women. Some are tall and some are short. Some are mentally intelligent and some are physically strong. Just think about the different breeds of dogs. A terrier will never be able to defend your property from invaders the way a German Shepherd will, but a German Shepherd won't be diving down any gopher holes to rid you of varmints. Individuals are not equal, but we all have different talents that when utilized properly work out better for everyone. Want to be happy? Start dealing with this reality. Embrace what you are good at and the prosperity will come. Embrace feminism, or any other form of Marxism, and well, history speaks for itself. And that is my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Everyone, please take a moment to subscribe to my 2 cents on the BitTubers and BitChute platforms. YouTube has shown that it is no longer a viable platform for independent content creators, and we need to build a presence elsewhere before the inevitable censorship comes. The links to both profiles are available in the BitTubers tab on my website, my2centsvideos.com. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as hit the bell to receive notifications so that you never miss an upload. And if you're a fan of my channel, please consider supporting me on Subscribestar, Bitbacker, or Patreon to receive special rewards. All links can be found in the About section of my website, my2centsvideos.com.